It is that time, and you know what time I'm talking about. This is episode 6 of I Called That. I'm Martin Montana. He's Charlie Marlow. Charlie, what's happening, my friend?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we made it to 6. We got a half dozen. I think things are going great. You know, we had the Super Bowl a while back, but now again, this is another one of those tests for us because pretty dead time in sports. Post-football, baseball hasn't figured things out. We're not yet to NBA, NHL playoffs, but hey, we got Olympics, weird injuries. We got dunk contests. We got Juwan Howard from the Fab Five slap mush punching people. So we got topics.
We got topics, and March Madness is right around the corner. I mean, don't even worry about it. Let's start with Juwan Howard because obviously this is headlines all over the place. I pulled up the clip. I had to watch it again. Even in slow motion, to be quite honest. It looks to me like he just didn't decide what he wanted to do to the guy, right? Like it doesn't look at any time like he starts with a closed fist, but the hand comes out and then maybe it's all happening so fast. By the time he got near his face, you know, he had no more leverage, right? To open palm him or backhand him. So he just kind of like squeezy, mushy. What do you call that?
You know, a lot of people have called it a mush, which I think is a good, apt description. And I've always said, I think language and the words you use are very important. Like yesterday on the radio, we started talking about this, and then we got into this debate because it was annoying me that my co-hosts were calling it a punch. And I'm like, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the fact that Juwan Howard should be punished. He should. And the 5-game suspension, I think that's fair. I didn't think he should lose his job, but it wasn't.
No, definitely not.
And that's my whole thing is there's a degree to things in life, right? I mean, I think we can all agree that you can push somebody. All right. Punching somebody's worse. Yeah. This is somewhere in the middle to me, because again, he did this thing where he was like, you know, his fist really wasn't open almost the whole time. I broke this thing down like the Zapruder film. I'm telling you. It almost looked like he was trying to grab something. Like if the dude, let's say his face mask was not on properly and he almost grabbed it off, he kind of slaps him upside of the head. So either way, he clearly shouldn't have done it. But I just thought it was funny because you wonder if Juwan Howard just like he got ready to punch, but then as he's ready to throw, he kind of said, wait a second, I'm 49 years old. I'm the head coach of the University of Michigan. I should probably not do this, but his hand was kind of already going forward. But either way, just like a crazy story, which of course nowadays everybody brings. Somebody dropped the, I think it was the Amazon person.
Yeah. By the way, like we're going to keep rolling through this. Our current Amazon, you know how like obviously the delivery people change all the time, but you sometimes tend to have one person a lot. I don't know if that happens over there. Like, where I live, it's the same UPS guy, like 98% of the time, which is, I don't think I've ever had that in my life where it's always the guy. It's the same mail woman every time, which is maybe more common. And we tend to get Amazon's all over the place. Don't get me wrong, but we get this one guy recurring. And the reason he stands out is because he throws the package onto the front stoop in front of the door, like doesn't bend down just to place it, just from waist level, drops it. And my wife saw it and was like, can you, like, what is this guy? And I'm like, dude, like, what if you got some valuable stuff in there? They're not all packaged properly. You know what I mean? Like he's just throwing the box at your front door. Have you ever had that? And what am I supposed to do? Like wait till he comes close and then pop out and give him some lecture on how to put a package down? I mean, it's a tremendous lose-lose.
Yeah. So the way our driveway is set up, folks, they always walk pretty close. I mean, I've never seen anybody throw the package. I feel like a lot of people catch folks with the Ring cameras doing that. Yeah. So we have not had that issue. However,
I'm installing my Ring camera today, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Another interesting point is that Ring camera was on Shark Tank and they passed on it. I don't know if you ever read this story, but think about that. Shark Tank, like the best investors in the world, some of the smartest people in the world, the Ring camera was initially brought to them and they didn't do a deal with them. This company that became $1 billion company.
Yeah.
So that's kind of crazy. But yeah,
That
I feel
is
like
crazy.
Ring cameras, they usually, you see those go viral where somebody will freaking fling it like a Frisbee, you know, almost from the truck, which in a way is impressive because you're like, man, that's a great throw, except for, oh yeah, you're also damaging my product.
Yeah, you're damaging my product. And, you know, sometimes when you're like, oh, maybe I'm being a little intense, it's like, no, actually, I'm not. And maybe we just have bad delivery people. That's certainly a possibility. And I already know we're probably like semi blacklisted with the UPS guy because when we first moved in, I ordered this TV entertainment stand thing, right, from Home Depot. And it shows up, it's like 150-pound box because it's all the pieces and you got to put it together. The box is literally split in the middle and just wrapped with tape, just tape all around where you're like, this is not going to be good, right? You look at it, he slides this thing and he brings, you know, he's got his dolly and he's all pissed off that he's bringing it up. So he brings it he leaves it by the door. I drag it in. I'm like, there's no way this thing's in good shape. I open it. Lo and behold, to nobody. Yeah, the pieces are like fractured in half right down the middle. So I call Home Depot and I'm like, it's broken. Send me another one. So they say, okay, we'll send you another one. You got to return that one. We'll schedule UPS. You just have to have it ready. And here's the label or whatever. Okay, great. So I just got to sit by the front door, this huge box. And then one day he shows up. I'm like, okay, great. And he's looking at it and he's like, is that how it came? Like, you know, already you're like, dude, what are you accusing me of ripping the box and breaking the pieces so I could return it? Like, I was like, yes, that's how it came. And I bit my tongue because I was going to say, yeah, you delivered it, dude. But
oh, same guy?
It was the same guy.
Oh, wow.
So he was pissed. He had to pick it up because it's so heavy and annoying. He picks it up. He takes it in the car. Okay. Here comes the next delivery 2 weeks later. Who do you think's delivering it? There he is. He wheels it up. I say, hey, thanks a lot. You know, I mean, if I'm not traveling, I'm usually home, right? Like I'm home. So I'm like, hey, thank you. Thanks for delivering. This box looks like it's in good shape. But I open the box. Yep. I start taking out the pieces. And it's just because it's so heavy and they don't wrap them all up. So yeah, these things get flung around and things going to break in there. So pieces are broken all over the place. Now I'm like, dude, I'm done with this thing from Home Depot. I'm done with Home Depot. We're moving on and I'm returning it. Well, now he's got to come back the third time with the same item. And he's looking at me and I'm like, and my wife's like, you know, she's more level-headed than me. She's always like, just be nice. You know, she's like, this is the guy we're going to have to, you know, deliver all our stuff forever. So I'm like, all right. So he shows up. He's looking at me. He's pissed. You know, he's wearing the brown shirt, he's pissed. He probably hates his outfit, you know. And I'm like, I make nice with him. And I'm like, hey, I know what you're thinking. It is broken. I said, don't worry. I'm not ordering any more of these. And he's like, all right, good. Have a nice day. We'll sit back. I'm like, who knows? We're probably, you know, maybe he keeps like a little spiral notebook with addresses that he hates, right? And maybe we're in there. Maybe we're top 5, top 10, but I certainly didn't do anything wrong. I know that. I think I'm the victim here, but the guy does not like my house.
Yeah, I would think, especially if you have a route that is pretty consistent. If I'm that guy, there's no value when you have to be at these houses nonstop every day, seeing the same people. There's really no value of being lazy whatsoever. Now, if it's the fill-in guy, that's the person that he doesn't care because he's not going to see you again. He probably goes around, he's vacation relief for all the different routes and just stops there once. But if I'm the guy who's going to be delivering to you all the time, and also it doesn't benefit him if he's going to ruin your stuff, have to come back multiple times and keep fixing it. And the other part is, look, if you have that consistent person, this is more with like at our house with our guy who collects the trash and also our mailman. I mean, these guys get hooked up pretty good at Christmas with some tips. So I'm thinking if I'm that Amazon guy and I'm coming to the same houses, I'd be forming relationships in terms of, I know these people's names. I know their kids. I'm saying hi. I'm trying to get that Christmas tip money.
Well, Charlie, that's why you're an entrepreneur delivery guy. I mean, you're one of these kids who starts at 17 and is a manager by 19. You know what I mean? I mean, this is what I'm hearing from you. I mean, you have that kind of gusto. Is that the right word?
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how you think. And I don't know. I mean, I think I'll say this. He's delivered more things. Very pleasant. As pleasant as he can be. You know, he has kind of had the full beard thing going on where you're kind of looks a little grumpy off the bat, but hey, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. So anyways, that was a long tangent, but your doorbell rang and you see how much trauma I'm going through with deliveries here.
No, I hear you, dude. And like I said, I'm surprised this is now 6 episodes. My dog has only gone crazy once and probably watched, if the mailman comes, he'll do it again. But so we had kind of finished up the Juwan Howard take there, which to me, 5 games, it's fine. I always think it's funny though. They punish him. We're going to punish you for the rest of the regular season, but come right back when it matters in the Big Ten tournament, right?
It's so silly. And do you think the punishment would have been the same if he had a closed fist and he scuffed him a little bit, or you're thinking it's totally different?
Well, that's why we got in this argument on the radio about this, because to me, now intent should matter. I mean, the results should also matter. But yeah, to me, if you push somebody or if you kind of slap them, or also if you punch them, here's another part of it. If you actually land the punch, your punishment's going to be worse. Now, I'm not saying that's the way it is, but you see this in sports. Sometimes the best hits in football and hockey, and sometimes they're not even dirty, but when they look so vicious and then the player gets injured after the fact, it could be a mostly clean hit. But if you absolutely destroy this person and all of a sudden this person is out for 10 games or misses 2 weeks, you probably will be punished more because it's the optics of it, which is why I just thought it was funny with the Juwan Howard, because I looked at this thing so many times and he weirdly comes forward almost like he's doing like I don't know what that is, like a duck bill or something.
He should, you know what he should have done? What he should have done is done when you're 6 years old and you play the not touching and you just put your hand in their face, but don't touch. I mean, he just should have gone right in there and just been like,
I'm not touching you.
Not touching.
I'm not touching you.
I'm not touching. And then maybe he could have got the retaliation back, It just looks silly. I mean, it was like a weird face squeeze thing, and let him coach the kids, right? There's seniors on that team. They're not going to play in the NBA. Let them coach, let them play.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The punishment was fine. It's like anything else though, in this crazy polarized world we live in. And I mean, people are bringing all these different racial storylines into it. Like, I just find it funny whenever all of the national political pundits, like, they always love to weigh in on sports. And that's where I'm almost like, hey, I'm out. And the other thing is, people are acting like this is the end of the world. And I understand it's a big story. There's not a lot going on in sports, but like, I saw a lot of pearl clutching surrounding this incident. In terms of, I mean, Juwan Howard played in the NBA. This assistant coach, Joe Krabenhoff, he played at Wisconsin. They're both adults. It was a little slap fight. It's not the end of the world.
It's fine. I mean, these are heated moments anyways. This is like intense. Their job is competition, and it happens to be televised. I mean, this stuff happens. I'm with you. It's no big deal. It is no big deal. Move on. A political person wants to weigh in. Hey, political person, I don't trust you anyways with what you do for a living. I don't want to hear your take on something not related to the stuff you get to make up on a daily basis. No, I'm out. Let's move on. Did you watch any of the NBA dunk contest? Because I'll tell you, I did not. Busy kid life, whatever. I don't have to defend myself. but it did make me reminisce about the good old days of dunk contests. So before we go there, did you watch most recent?
I did not. That's why right now I'm Googling NBA dunk contest entrants, which I already looked up yesterday. And I already forgot the names of most of these guys because I had never heard of these players. So it was Jalen Green, never heard of him, Houston Rockets.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin, New York
You
Knicks.
know Obi Toppin.
I've heard of Obi Toppin because I live in St. Louis, and St. Louis University, their big rivals, Dayton. And Obi Toppin was awesome for Dayton.
Yeah.
A couple years back. Cole Anthony, apparently that's Greg Anthony's kid.
Correct.
And then who was the other guy?
Juan Toscano Anderson on the Warriors.
Yeah. So Juan Toscano Anderson. So I've kind of heard of Cole Anthony, never heard of Jalen Green, never heard of Juan Toscano Anderson. So that's the thing. To me, growing up, my older brother and I remember it was appointment television watching the NBA Slam Dunk Contest. And I was born in 82. So this is probably, let's just say, I don't know, like 1990 to 1994. So, I mean, I think you saw little Dominique, Michael Jordan. I can't remember when those guys stopped doing the dunk contest. I feel like the 80s was big for those guys and Spud Webb.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go to Spud Webb, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that he won, I think, in 86, 86, maybe. So I'm only 7 years old at that point, but I remember seeing his dunks, whether it's that I actually watched that one. I probably wouldn't remember that, but it's probably the future ones I watched where they're constantly going to show those clips, right? Over and over again. I mean, Jordan, Neek, Spud Webb, come on.
And that's where, yeah. So those 90s ones, a lot of them though were won by random dudes, but I still really remember those dunks. Like you had D Brown, which I think that was this.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
you had
right.
D Brown. You had Harold Baby Jordan Minor.
Harold Minor, Miami
Heat.
Heat.
One where he brought it down by his crotch. Like he came down like this, I think, if I'm remembering.
And then what? J.R. Ryder? What year is J.R. Ryder?
Okay. So there's another guy. So maybe I'm mixing up the dunks, but J.R. Ryder, AKA Isaiah Ryder. And then Baby Jordan, Harold Minor. I feel like Cedric Ceballos won one of those years.
Cedric Ceballos. Yes. I love it. I mean, I used to watch every NBA dunk contest. So is the question you have whether, you know, the kids of today are glued to the dunk contest like we were? Is that the debate?
Well, I think the answer is 100% no, that they're not.
Yeah.
I also think you're not having the stars dunking. So I remember Dwight Howard did it one year, right? He did the Superman stuff. But I feel like a lot of the superstars just skip the dunk contest. Like, I don't remember. Did Kobe ever do it? I feel like LeBron never does it. Maybe he did it once his rookie year. I can't even remember. But you're not also getting the best dunkers. You're getting dudes you'd never heard of.
Yeah, that's a huge part of the problem for me. Even if I had time to see it, I mean, if it's not draw level guys, then I'm like, I'm out.
And that's where, so somebody was suggesting, I think on ESPN, which I
18-year-old, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
18-year-old Kobe Bryant won the dunk contest in 1997.
Okay. And I don't know if he did it anymore beyond that. I can't remember if LeBron did it just once or never did it, but I feel like he skipped a lot of years where people wanted to see him. And that's where somebody suggested on ESPN, which I kind of agree with, let one of these random dudes who dunks for a living, because you have all these guys that are on like the and one mixtapes, the ball is life. Seriously.
I know.
Dudes, they dunk for a living,
right?
And they're really good. They usually played college basketball. Throw one of those dudes in just as a new wrinkle, along with a couple of NBA dudes, and just see, because one of the players was, I think it was Donovan Mitchell, was saying, look, you can't practice for the dunk contest and still try to play basketball. You're gonna have nothing in your legs because it takes so much to have these creative dunks and jump through the roof and still play a basketball season. So I think it'd be cool if you added one of these and one type dudes.
So Charlie, what would the financial offer have to be to you to travel with the and one mixtape tour and be the hype man crowd announcer guy? And say you're going to be gone for 3 months out of the year. what do they have to pay you for you to take that job?
Okay, so right now I have 2 kids. My wife
Yeah.
she would not like that at all. 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
3 months. I think that's got to be like 100,000, don't you think? At least 100,000
Yeah, it's
bucks.
got to be a healthy buyout because it's a lot of time away from home.
Yeah. And I'm very offended by the fact that you think I can only be the hype man, that I couldn't be a player. I couldn't be White Chocolate Jr. What would my
The professor?
the professor? Oh, those were the days.
Yeah.
I remember those guys' names. That's crazy. Who else was it? Skip to Malou.
Skip to my Lou. Yeah, I remember that.
Who else was on that?
I mean, it was pretty cool to watch for a while. It's just like it gets a little old, and then I would randomly see the professor like, goes undercover at Venice Beach and just tools on some guys. And sometimes he's wearing street clothes or he's wearing like the most non-basketball outfits you can think of, right? And he's wearing a backpack and glasses, like he's a nerd. And then he just goes and, crosses everybody up and wins a game of 21 or whatever. I mean, it's cool, but it's like, how many times can you do it? I guess if people still watch it, but I remember when it first came out and I watched it. I was like, okay, I can watch this.
That's also, they're literally stealing the premise from White Men Can't Jump. I mean, that's Billy Hoyle. Billy Hoyle purposefully showed up at the basketball runs. Remember, he had the bad shoes, he had long shorts, he had the hat on backwards. And that was part of his reason of, hey, give me the chump. Hey, let's play for money. Give me the chump. And then, of course, he goes out there and balls out.
That's correct. Good shout out to a Wesley Snipes movie, by the way.
Oh, so are we going Wesley Snipes movie? We're not calling it a Woody Harrelson movie, or also?
I mean, it's a duo.
Yeah,
it's a duo, but I think maybe I just miss Wesley Snipes in his prime, Passenger 57 kind of stuff.
Okay. We're going off on tangents here, which I love.
Yeah.
If you saw the most recent, I believe it's Netflix, it's a short 6 or 7 episode show with Kevin Hart, where Kevin Hart kind of plays himself. He plays.
Oh yeah, I saw the trailer for this. Yeah.
Yeah. So he plays a very popular comedian, and they get caught up in some like either murders or fake murders, and his brother is Wesley Snipes. And so it was cool to see Wesley Snipes back in the game, because his brother is arguably the second most important character in this show. And I think if you see this, it's about a 6 episode run. It's pretty dang good. And Wesley Snipes is back, which is good to see.
That is good to see, because I feel like for a while he was in the Nick Cage, Travolta world of just constantly making movies no one's ever heard of and pumping them out on like Prime, or these guys like continue to. Nick Cage makes like 3 movies a year. And you're like, when is he? And they go straight to Prime, like they're tucked in there somewhere. He's got a phenomenal wig on, and it's like, man, the guy keeps working. It's not his blockbuster box office days, but hey, there's no shame in that, right? He's still out there making stuff.
Exactly. And I think specifically with Wesley Snipes, obviously he had the whole IRS tax evasion situation. I think he was in the clink for a little bit there. But also, just to circle back, we did forget to mention, White Men Can't Jump. You obviously have Woody Harrelson, you have Wesley Snipes, but very underrated and probably the most quotable of the whole movie is Rosie Perez. Billy, you're so stupid.
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez had some great. Sometimes when you win, you really lose. All of that, very underrated.
That was a great Rosie Perez. Yes, that was Rosie Perez. I mean, when that movie comes out, I mean, I don't have her film log in front of me, but she gets heat. She parlays into a lot of movies. She has that nice little 5-10 year run there where she's in a lot of stuff, and she's great. She was great. She was great. I mean, talk about the memorable character. That was great. All right, back to sports. I'm gonna pull us back.
Bring us back.
I'm gonna pull us back. We're gonna talk about a couple of things. This one is, I'm not even going to explain it. I'm going to read you something from CBS Sports. Okay. Right. The title is Finnish cross-country skier suffers frozen penis during race at Winter Olympics. The quote, "The pain was unbearable," Remy Lindholm said of his injury. That's absolutely terrible. So Finnish cross-country skier Remy Lindholm suffered a frozen penis during the men's 50-kilometer race on Saturday. It was so frigid outside that organizers ended up delaying the start of the race as a result of freezing winds and extremely cold temperatures. The race is traditionally 50 kilometers, but was cut down to 20 due to the elements. Despite that change, now they're taking a shot at him. Despite that change, Lindholm, 24, still suffered the peculiar injury. I love whoever wrote this. Whose desk did this come across? This was Chris Bengal. They're like, "Hey, Chris, you're up." And he's like, "Frozen penis? Come on, dude. I don't want to." You can guess which body part was a little bit frozen when I finished, Lindholm said following the ordeal. "It was one of the worst competitions I've been in. It was just about battling through. When the body parts started to warm up after the finish, the pain was unbearable," Lindholm said. And then they end the article saying, Lindholm ended up finishing the race in 28th place in about 1 hour and 15 minutes.
How about that, though? To finish the race.
He finished.
To come in 28th, though, if my penis is frozen and I feel like I'm not even going to get close to the medal stand, I mean, do you quit? It's the Olympics. You can't really quit. Also, this has happened to this dude before, apparently, because I was reading this other article and he said it happened in the Ruka World Cup in November that he'd suffered a frozen, quote, saint. So I don't know if in Finnish they call that member the saint, but here's the thing. Like, I don't know how this came about. Maybe he's just really honest. Also, why are you even interviewing the guy who finished 28th? Although I'm glad they did, because this is really the most interesting story to me of the entire Winter Olympics. I've only been interested about 2 different times, and this is one of them. But for this dude, somebody smart out there needs to parlay this into some type of great endorsement for heating pads, for those hand warmers, for
thermal underwear.
I was going to say thermal underwear. Like, this dude better make money off this.
I mean, I got to be honest. This dude also needs someone in his family to step up and be like, all right, obviously you're an endurance athlete, right? You're an endurance athlete. You're good enough to make it to the Olympics. You do know they do summer games, right? Like, maybe we can find some kind of marathon or, just something else where we're in some nice climate. I mean, if it happened one time, I guess you could be like, hey, horrible luck. I didn't suit up properly. But if it happens again, I'm out. I am retired. I definitely don't want to field questions about this. Can you imagine the questions? Like, how was the pain? Did it hurt? What are you going to ask the guy? What are you going to ask the guy? I would just be like, dude, I'm not taking questions. I'm retired from cross country. Thank you guys very much. And I'm changing my email. Don't ever call me or contact me again. Thanks.
Okay. So I'm Googling again so I hadn't thought about this the first time around with this story. So, okay, let me make sure I have the right guy. Do you remember during the NFL playoffs when the discussion was about just the really frigid conditions in Buffalo? And former NFL player Bart Scott, famously of "Can't Wait," he suggested, so he works for ESPN now, he suggested that Josh Allen take Viagra before the game. Yeah. And apparently this is a thing that some players do to get the circulation going. And so I'm thinking now for this skater or this cross-country skier, maybe that's the move. Now, the difference is if the Viagra gets you too excited, there's really no room for interpretation with the cross-country ski outfit. But then again, it doesn't freeze potentially. So you have to weigh that.
I mean, it's the ultimate paradox, right? What article do you want them to write about you? Is there any other way to say it? And this poor guy, I'm with you. Let's find him a product endorsement, get him on Shark Tank. And a lot of times, like, guys climb Everest and then they lose an arm or something, but then they become motivational speakers and, make 100 grand a speech or whatever. That's got to be this guy's he's got to get some spin on this thing. And he does that and he's all set. So
yeah, if I'm him, I just wonder, I think he's just really too honest. Like, I wonder if he didn't want to make a big deal of it, but he kind of threw it out there as a passing comment. Like, I think you could probably guess which part froze. And then again, like in the world we live in now with the media, I mean, anybody who writes this article, it's going to get picked up by all these blog aggregators, and it's going to be the biggest story of the day, because also nothing else interesting is happening at the Winter Olympics. If I'm him, again, if you're not going to get big time endorsements out of this, I probably just wouldn't mention it.
I've got a theory on that. That's an interesting point, because I'm seeing where you're going with this, and we may never know the answer, but what if he was just getting sort of bombarded about his terrible result, right? Like, what if it was just the constant, like, hey, we're looking at your last 5 races. I mean, you're a top 5 guy. Like, what happened? And finally he's just like, my junk froze. Like, what do you, like, give me, back off, man.
You know what?
And then there goes the front page article, just like that.
So again, I just kind of, when I think about things, I think of other stories similar, and it's going to bring me back to the NBA. It's going to bring me back to the situation years ago when Paul Pierce was carried off the court. Remember? He's carried off the court. Yep. Everybody thinks this dude tore his ACL. He's never going to come back. Well, sure enough, he comes back pretty immediately and like scores a bunch of points and they win the game. Well, what happens? He was too embarrassed to say, and he later admitted, just I think in the last couple of years, that he actually was sick and he had crapped his pants. So if I'm this Finnish skier, maybe you lie at first, but then later on you tell the truth. But I don't know. I mean, the dude's 24 years old. I haven't seen the guy. I don't know. Is he like a good looking dude? Could he get some endorsements off this? I mean, I feel like he needs to monetize this. That's all I'm saying. They
did put a photo in there. He's wearing giant sort of wraparound Oakleys. He looks like a center fielder from the 90s. And he's got like that little, very thin stash. It's a little odd looking, but yeah, I mean, he's, normal looking guy. He's an Olympic athlete, right? There's possibilities here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I hope it works out for him, but maybe also cross-country skiing, they need to have a new uniform policy.
They do.
I would think
they definitely do.
If this dude's penis froze, there's probably some other people it either happened to, they're not admitting it, or it darn well could have happened. So maybe they just need to have, because you want to have that really tight outfit for being aerodynamic, but you have to make it uniform across the board. Maybe you have some of those big kind of fuzzy, like fuzzy breeches, and you wear them over your outfit. And that's a way that cross-country skiing could have a new endorsement possibility.
What they should do is make them wear, like, when you're like sparring and boxing, you have the giant padded what do you bikini? Like, what do you call it? Like, make them just wear that. And then it's all level playing field. It's like everybody's warm. Everybody's all toasty down there, and let the good times roll. So we're rooting for you. All right.
I love it.
Michaela Schifrin. My goodness. Remy Lindholm. Poor Remy Lindholm. All right. Moving on. All right, Charlie. We're up against it here with time, but let's recap what we talked about sports betting wise, because I get an immediate pass. I said I don't watch NASCAR. I know nothing about it. I've never seen a race. I predicted blindly Keselowski was going to win. He finished 9th. Who did you pick?
I picked Kyle Larson, the defending NASCAR Cup champ, and he had a DNF, did not finish. However, I did watch a lot of this race. I watched the ending, and both of our guys, Keselowski and Kyle Larson, were both running top 10-ish at the end with a chance to win. And there were a couple wrecks at the end. It was actually a crazy finish. Bubba Wallace, he finished second to this Aaron Cindric, but if Bubba Wallace had another maybe 50 feet, 50 yards, he would have won. I mean, he was making his charge at the end, and that Cindric held them off. But congratulations to you, because you did win. Keselowski finished what, 9th or 10th?
He finished 9th. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Here's the bet of the week. I'm getting into college basketball because as I mentioned last time, I will be in Vegas the first weekend of March Madness, and I have so many parlays I'm going to have to place. So let's transition that. And this week's I called that bet. I'm gonna throw it out there. As you know, I went to UVA, so we're going Virginia basketball. They are playing Duke tomorrow night. They've already upset them this year. Our squad is mediocre. Let's be fair here. Duke, I believe, is ranked 7th currently. I had trouble finding a line for this, but I found one saying that they're looking at Duke minus 6.5, and the points at a 128.5. So I'll go first, and I'm going to right out of the gate take Duke to cover 6.5.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you'd go homer pick there.
No way.
Which is going to make me go opposite just for show purposes. I'm glad that you went that way, because I'm thinking Virginia keeps it close at home. I don't think you win the game, but I'll take Virginia getting 6.5. Hopefully a nice close 3-4 point ball game.
Okay. There it is. There it is. We covered a lot of ground today, Charlie. I almost am tempted to check my front door, see if there's any new packages or anything like that after all that we talked about. But hey, we're on a roll. We're not looking back. You know what I mean? It's only going to heat up. College basketball is ramping up. NBA playoffs will be here before we know it.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows with baseball? We're not even going to give them any respect until they respect us back. So
100%. When baseball actually plays a spring training game, we'll give them their due, their love. Shout out to my dog Otis for being annoying and interrupting the broadcast, but he only did it once in 6 shows. I think that's pretty good, actually.
I think it's very good. All right, buddy. There it is.
All right, man. See ya. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.